Breaking tonight on the Florida school shooting.
I'm absolutely sick to my stomach to see children who go to school armed with backpacks and pencils lose their lives.
How did the gunman get in? And why did he do it? New questions as investigators dig into the suspect's social media postings. And we're hearing from the children who were in the building. How will they ever be able to let go of this?
A teacher pulled me in and just locked the door, and I was in a closet with 40 other kids.
CBS5 News at 11 starts now.
Good evening. Breaking tonight, some parents are still waiting to find out if their child survived the massacre. We know at least 17 people were killed, and the suspected shooter had been expelled for disciplinary reasons. Tonight, the high school is a crime scene. 12 people were killed inside the building. Others were shot outside. Investigators now have the grim task of combing through the building to identify the victims. And some of the video that you will see tonight in this newscast is deeply troubling, and we want you to know that ahead of time. Nikki Batiste live with the breaking news tonight.
The Broward County Sheriff says 12 of the 17 people killed have been identified. Some of the students did not have their backpacks or IDs on them. The suspect, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, will be questioned as officials try to determine his motive.
The nightmare at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida unfolded just as the school day was ending. Police say the suspected gunman, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, arrived on the school's campus Wednesday afternoon heavily armed.
He had countless magazines, multiple magazines, and at this point we believe he had one AR-15 rifle.
A law enforcement source tells CBS News he appeared to have pulled the fire alarm to create chaos before firing.
As soon as the fire drill got pulled, the fire alarm got pulled, and kids were evacuating, I heard 5 pops.
And then all of a sudden we hear one of our student government teachers say, "Run as fast as you can," and we hear a gunshot.
As emergency officials tended to the wounded, students raced out of the school, some with arms above their heads.
We were just praying and crying.
The description of the subject is going to be a white male, last seen wearing a burgundy shirt.
Cruz was arrested nearby without incident, to the relief of parents wondering if their loved ones were safe.
It's really great to be able to hug him a little tighter right now.
This is just absolutely pure evil.
Late Wednesday, officials escorted Cruz in his hospital gown to the Broward jail for questioning.
He was a former student of Douglas High School. He got expelled for disciplinary reasons. I don't know the specifics.
Authorities plan to examine the gunman's social media activity as they try to figure out his motives.
A federal law enforcement officer tells CBS News they are working to trace the AR-15 back to the first lawful purchaser. I'm Nikki Batiste reporting live in New York. Now back to you.
Nikki, thank you. Also breaking tonight, the gunman was in a gas mask and had smoke grenades. That's information tonight from Florida Senator Bill Nelson. Tonight, the senator said he wants the families of the injured and the dead to know they are not alone. We have team coverage ahead tonight. There are new responses to all of this coming in from elected leaders here in central New York. And our team tonight is advancing new angles on all of it, preparing to survive. Tara Gibbons is live with what veteran SWAT officers say you can do faced with an active shooter. And Justin Page is focused on tomorrow, talking to children at school and at home about what happened in Florida and what can happen anywhere. All of it right after the top 5 and the Weather Authority forecast. Here's Molly Matat.
Quick check of what you can expect over the course of the next couple of days. It's a lot of the same. Mild air, but tomorrow we'll have to keep an eye on this. Triple Doppler radar, brought to you by Falso Service Experts, is dry for now. You can see a few very light showers moving into the southern tier now. There may be a passing sprinkle, light rain shower at any time during the day tomorrow. Not a washout, but something to watch for. Look at where temperatures are. We've actually dropped into the low 30s, into the 20s in Syracuse and Rome, below freezing. We did some melting today. There may be some slick spots, but I expect temperatures to rise through early tomorrow morning. So check out your morning rush forecast. We'll actually be starting off the day in the upper 30s near 40, and we could make a run at the 50s during the day tomorrow. We'll talk about how long that mild air sticks around coming up. Michael?
Thanks, Molly. Just after 11 now, here are the top 5 stories on CBS 5 News. Tonight, thoughts and prayers are pouring into South Florida, and some of those good wishes are coming from elected leaders right here in central New York. Congressman John Katko tonight. I'm heartbroken by the fatal and senseless shooting in Parkland, Florida this afternoon. My thoughts are with all of the victims, their families, and the first responders in the aftermath of this tragedy. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand thinking of the victims and their families and grateful to the first responders on the scene. When will enough be enough, she asks, for Congress to finally take gun violence seriously? Governor Andrew Cuomo this evening, how many more communities need to be traumatized by gun violence before Congress acts? Do something. Lead, he wrote. New tonight, a 4-year-old missing from South Carolina is safe in Alabama. Authorities say Heidi Todd disappeared Tuesday night. Authorities believe someone attacked her mother, who was found brutally beaten. Police say Heidi Todd was inside a vehicle. Someone managed to get her out safely before the driver took off. Tonight, police are out with a sketch of someone that they call a person of interest in the case. Just down the thruway in Schenectady, a rare and fascinating discovery inside a book at the Union College Library. A lock of George Washington's gray hair found tucked inside an 18th century almanac. The hair was inside an envelope in the book, the strands tied together with a single thread. The book was found on the top shelf by the college's archivist, but no one is quite sure exactly how it got there. Scary moments from the men's halfpipe finals as a Japanese athlete lands hard on the top of that pipe. The 16-year-old tumbled 22 feet down. He was able to flip himself over, but had to be taken away in a stretcher. He's looking at a possible upper leg fracture, doctors say. The commentators called it one of the worst accidents they'd seen so far in the games. The Cardiac Cuse back in action at the Carrier Dome tonight. The Orange down 3 against NC State with seconds left. The team coming off a 2-game win streak. The Orange are back on the road playing Miami this Saturday. It was Valentine's Day, and if you haven't been in a high school in a while, it adds some new perspective to consider exactly what Valentine's Day is like at a typical one. There are flowers and balloons and stuffed animals. And this is what stopped us in our tracks tonight as we pored over the video that was coming from the shooting scene all day. One of the students being led to safety with a giant stuffed animal and a helium heart-shaped balloon. Let's get the facts first on CBS5 News at 11. Parkland, Florida has a population of 31,000. That's from the latest census, that is, in 2016. It was named Florida's safest city last year, according to an analysis by the Washington-based National Council for Home Safety and Security. The Florida city had 7 reported violent crimes and 186 property crimes the previous year, the analysis says. As this was breaking this afternoon, Onondaga County Sheriff Eugene Conway called into CBS5 News to talk about his deputies trained for this and how fast they need to move if it ever happens here.
Well, what strikes me the most is that there was actually police officers on the campus of that school, is what I understand. And this speaks to how seconds can mean hours in a situation such as an active shooter. And that's where all our training is focused on now.
CBS 5's Tara Gibbons continues our team coverage. She's with the Live Eye just outside the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department tonight.
Experts say you should look to your local police for guidance on how to handle a situation like this one. But the main message to teach our children is to run, hide, and fight back. That may just save their lives.
At this point, the images are burned in our brains, leaving parents here in central New York wondering how to keep their own children safe. Tom Chiz is a former sheriff's deputy and SWAT team member and now works for Armored One and says students should always remember to run, hide, and then fight if they have to.
If a shooter's 10 feet away from you with a gun, you're not fighting him. But if he has a gun up into your chest or into your face, and he's that close, that's the time to fight for your life.
Getting behind a locked door can help save you, but he says don't assume just by locking it, you're 100% safe.
Taking every bit of furniture that you can get, tables, chairs, desks, and barricading them in front of a door buys you time and wears down that attacker trying to get in, and hopefully he'll move on to an easier target.
If your child has a cell phone, Shiz says it should always be on mute. If it rings or beeps, that could alert the gunman to where they're hiding.
If he's hearing phones ring, he's going to know that there's people in the room. So by silencing your phones and keeping them and even possibly powering them off is going to help save your lives.
He says teachers should be in control, helping to guide the children to safety.
Just because you're shot, you're not out of the fight. It doesn't mean that it's over, and encouraging them that. And for the teachers is to take that leadership.
Now, Chiz says schools should do away with not doing active shooting drills, instead acting as if it's a real lockdown. Reporting live in Syracuse, I'm Tara Gibbons.
It is the new normal for advice. Tara, thank you. So many worried parents showed up to the school in Florida this afternoon, waiting and hoping to see their child walk out of the doors. Tonight, this video and the story of what happened inside that building are hitting hard everywhere. We found people in Syracuse's Armory Square tonight deeply touched by it.
It makes me afraid. I'm scared for my kids, I'm scared for the teachers, I'm scared for the general population.
A lot of sadness, a lot of grief for people I don't even know. I felt really bad.
CBS5 team coverage continues with Justin Page. He's with the Live Eye outside Henniger High School in Syracuse tonight.
Michael, there will be difficult conversations happening at schools across the country tomorrow morning following this mass shooting in Florida. The images and videos are difficult to see at any age, but particularly for children. Earlier tonight, I spoke with a family counselor who says it's always important to use delicate language when talking about these situations.
17 lives lost, and in a place no one should feel unsafe. While the nation's hearts are in South Florida, their eyes are on the TV as more heart-wrenching details come out. Syracuse family counselor Shane Brown says discussing these events with kids requires a delicate balance.
Younger children, they have a hard time separating fantasy from reality, and so, but early adolescence, late adolescence, I'd allow them to ask questions, because in adolescence, when there's unknowns, that can create a lot more anxiety in kids.
It'll never be easy to talk about, but trying is better than ignoring reality.
It's hard for any parent, any adult to talk about this just amongst adults. It's a really heavy topic, and you know, for kids, I think it really takes the whole community.
Though images like these make for a scary scene, Brown takes the advice of Mr. Rogers, who says in every tragedy, there are always people helping.
Focus on the helpers, you know, focus on the good. You know, even with what's going on in Florida today, you look at how quickly the community reacted. You look at the people, you know, the number of first responders, police, parents, community members, they all come together.
A big part of a child's community is their school. As a parent himself, Brown appreciates the openness from his son's school when addressing difficult subjects.
My son's school, they send home a lot of different information when they talk about something, and it allows us parents to then follow up with them and keep the conversation, you know, on both sides of the community. And I think that's also helpful.
Every school district handles these types of situations differently. Earlier today, a spokesperson from the Syracuse City School District said he was unsure whether or not the district would send out any direct communication related to today's shooting. However, the superintendent over at the West Genesee School District, Dr. Chris Brown, told me over the phone that tonight his thoughts are with the victims, but it's always important to send a message of safety because no one should be afraid to walk into a school. Reporting live in Syracuse, I'm Justin Page.
All right, Justin, thank you. New details will break on this overnight for sure. Stay with CBS5 this morning for the very latest. Join Allison Bybee and meteorologist Matt Stevens starting at 5 a.m.